Well, what do you know? It's time again for
Shameless Radio. I am your host, Ben Taylor, with my co-host. This is where you say your name.
Oh, Tim Copeland.
Tim Copeland. We are here to talk about the biggest movie going on right now, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. My friend, guess how much money this movie made over Memorial Day weekend?
I can't remember, but I think you have a paper over there that may have the total on there.
Mm-hmm.
How much is it?
You have a guess? $126 million. I know you're about to say that.
Yeah.
Not a bad opening for this movie, but was it a bad movie? You saw it. What do you think?
You know, I overall I liked it. Was not a fan of Shia LaBeouf in the film. Shia LaBeouf, I still don't know how to pronounce his name to this day, but not a fan of his character, Mutt Williams in the film. Did not like it.
Are you a fan of any of his work, or I mean, was there a prejudice going into this thing, or did you just really not like how he delivered the?
Well, he was an Even Stevens, right?
Yeah, he was.
I didn't like him in that either. No, I don't think I've liked any of his films or his shows or any of his commercials.
Okay, well, hey, that's fine. That's fine. But you know what? The movie was not based around him. The movie was based around the 65-year-old Harrison Ford. What did you think about Harrison Ford? Did you think he, the old guy, did pretty well in the action scenes? Do you think he was exciting enough for this generation?
You know, you couldn't tell that he was 65 in this movie. I at least I couldn't. They either hit it really well or had a lot of people doing stunts for him.
There was some really good CGI going on. They made him look really young.
Oh, don't get me started on the CGI. Maybe later.
Talking about the CGI, movie was all like green screen.
Yeah, that was probably my biggest pet peeve with the film is that if you look at the first three movies, they were all done on location, really exquisite sets all going on there. And this movie, it was pretty much like all like the newer Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
All it was obvious. It was green screen. It was fake. It was not. Just didn't have that earthy feel that the Indiana Jones films previously had.
No, I'll totally agree with that. I mean, it didn't ruin the film as much as it would, ruin, like you said, the other Star Wars movies. But it was distracting at times. I remember at the beginning when they were outside of, well, I won't give away too much of the story, but there was one part in the beginning where it's glaringly obvious that they're just, in front of a green screen on a scene that seems like they could just be on location and wouldn't be too insane.
Right.
It seemed unnecessary at times, but at the same time, it didn't take away the story, to me at least.
Yeah, that didn't take away the story as much as different little aspects of the storyline, the plot line. Not going to give away anything. Granted, let's be honest, most of you have probably already seen this movie.
Yeah, you'd have to be living under a rock, really, to not have at least heard about, the story, having one of your friends talking about it, or seeing it for yourself.
A movie doesn't make $126 million in 4 days by people not seeing it. So chances are either you've seen it, a family member or a friend has seen this movie. But there is different parts of the storyline of the plot that, if you looked at this movie compared to the other three movies, it seemed like a far stretch.
At least the other ones were plausible. I mean, and at the same time, I mean, there's the one that ended with like the king or the knight. That was probably as fake as anything else. But
exactly.
At least those were a little bit plausible, and there were a little bit of like not folklore, but
there was mythology attached to it.
Yeah, and this one's sort of just kind of out there.
Yeah, it just can't. The storyline just kind of came out of left field on this one. There was nothing. There was no historical precedent for any of this. Not a whole lot there, as far as that.
But at the same time, I enjoyed the story. It was a film that didn't take itself too seriously, which I think happens too much in filmmaking. It's kind of they're usually up their own asses, with their own stories.
Yeah.
This one didn't take itself too seriously. It was there for the purpose of entertaining and being fun, and in my opinion, it delivered. I don't know about you, but I was entertained for the full 2 hours.
Let me ask you, Ben, what did you think about the the subtle little homages to previous films in this movie? What did you think about them kind of adding in the history of the previous three films?
Well, I mean, I think it was important, for the hardcore fans, and also, since this probably will be the last film in the series, unless they decide to do more, after the success of this movie, it's plausible. But it was a good way to tie up any loose ends, sort of, look back where we once were, and kind of if this is the last movie, having those homages back to the original movies, sort of fitting.
Yeah, I felt that it kind of it made it was a nice bridge at the very beginning of the film, connecting the previous three with like talking about the Sean Connery's character, and I'm forgetting the other character at this moment, but it was the. Do you remember he passed away between
Marcus.
Marcus, exactly. They had little remembrances for Marcus and Sean Connery's character. Henry Jones Sr. And then there was another character, Marion, that comes back in this movie. Again, not gonna reveal too much, though. Again, you've probably already seen this movie. But it was really cool seeing the banter between Indiana and Marion, and just seeing how they interacted. Again, very similar to the first movie.
There's something almost poetic to this movie. The young grow old. You're able to see that, sort of like with the new Rambo film, the new Rocky film. These examples of youth in cinema 20, 30 years ago. Now you see them later, young grow old. It's kind of poetic.
Oh yeah,
in a way, and they've managed to make also entertaining films out of it, which is nice too. You were entertained, weren't you?
Oh, definitely.
What would you give a rating for this movie?
I'd probably give it probably a B plus. I would strongly advise you to see it if you haven't already seen it. I don't think I would see it again in the theaters, but I'll probably buy it.
Yeah, I'm along the same lines. I enjoyed it. It was a definite number 4 out of the 4 Indiana Jones movies. But that being said, the first 3 were excellent. So there's no shame in being number 4.
Right.
In the ranking, I enjoyed it. Yeah, again, I probably won't go back to the theaters and pay another $9.50 to watch it again. But it's definitely a DVD buy.
What would you think about the idea? Shia LaBeouf and George Lucas have talked about a spin-off or a continuation of the series, but with Mutt Williams, Shia LaBeouf's character, as the lead of that. What do you think of that idea?
I think it'd be completely lame. I don't know about you. Nobody went to see the movie for Mutt Williams. Or Shia LaBeouf. They went to see it for Indiana Jones.
I agree.
That's why it's in the title. So no, I think it'd be a mistake if they tried to waste their money on that. I know that they'll be thinking, they made all this money off this movie. Why not, rake in some more? But I think that that's the movie industry. They're in it to make money. It's a profit-making business. But I think they'd be a little misguided in thinking that they could do that or that it would be a success.
I agree, and the whole appeal of Indiana Jones. The whole appeal of Indiana Jones was that he wasn't a tough guy. No. He was a college professor. He got his butt kicked pretty often, but in the end, he always won. But he was a geek going into these situations. And I think Shia LaBeouf's character, Mutt Williams, did not have that same lovability. He did not have that same character. And I think the fans would find it hard to relate to that character and to really get behind him in any stories like this.
I totally agree. Well, we are out of time. Thank you for listening. If you haven't seen this movie, go ahead and see it. Everyone else is doing it. It's called Peer Pressure. Just spend your money. See this movie. Enjoy this movie as much as you have enjoyed this review of the movie. For Shameless Radio, I'm your host, Ben Taylor, co-host
Tim Copeland,
and we will catch you around the bend.